Hello, and welcome to Westmusings, 10-minute museum talks provided to you here at the Western Museums Association, this year in Arizona, 2016, and with thanks to Attow Fine Art Services, with post-production being provided by Soulstream Media. The theme of several of the talks this year have been about personal journeys, and this one is going to be one of the most remarkable that you've ever heard. I had the very good fortune of being introduced through the Getty Leadership Institute to one of the most amazing women I've ever had the good fortune of meeting, Niki, Ciccotelli, Stewart. In this brief talk, Niki will tell you about her personal journey, what she calls the crooked path. Most recently, it has taken her to the extraordinary place of Crystal Bridges Museum in Bentonville, Arkansas. And through the work that she's doing there, she is putting forward surveys that are helping us all better understand the impact of the educational mission of the museums where we all work. In many ways, we are all in her debt. With that, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Niki Ciccotelli Stewart.
I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the crooked path, as James said. And it's because lately I've been asked an awful lot, how did you get where you are? I don't mean here in Phoenix or in this room tonight. I mean in this part of my life. And I've had to really think it through because it has not been by plan. It has been an adventure, as I'm sure your journey has been as well. I really dove into thinking through this when my son, a few years ago, began thinking about his journey and college and what's my major going to be. And he had a fair amount of stress surrounding this decision, certain that if he made the wrong choice, his entire life would be turmoil. I remember feeling that way at the beginning of my journey as well. And my journey started with art school. I was going to be a Disney animator, full stop. That's it, only choice. Disney, animator. And because I wanted to be a Disney animator, I went to Ringling College of Art and Design, which is in Sarasota, Florida. While I was in Florida, I was close enough to the Walt Disney World theme park that I thought, I'm gonna get a job there while I'm still in college, get my foot in the door, and then they will have to hire me as a Disney animator once I've got the schooling out of the way. And my first gig there was working with these fine folks. I worked in the entertainment department, and it was my job to make sure that Snow White got out every night in her light-up dress for Spectra Magic, and that Peter Pan made it into the day parade looking just as he always should. This was not where I thought I would be, but you really can't beat hanging out with Peter Pan and Snow White. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty great. My first few days on the job in entertainment, we would walk the rope line before the daytime parade would start, just to check on things, make sure there was nothing in the road, the parade was gonna be coming along behind us, and we were clearing the way. And the first few days I was asked the same question over and over, and the question was this: what time is the 3 o'clock parade? 3 o'clock. And you must know that because you just asked me what time the 3 o'clock parade was. But in my Disney way, that's not what I said, it's just what I thought. And I tried to figure out what they were really asking me. And about day 2 or 3, it clicked. And this is what was really being asked of me. Excuse me, I have been sitting here on this curb for 1 hour, holding this spot so that my children can see the parade. We've been saving for this vacation for a year, and now it's 3:05, and there's no parade, and they now have to go to the bathroom and want ice cream, and this has to be a perfect vacation. So will you please tell me, what time does the 3 o'clock parade get to me? Now I can answer the question. That's when I learned why Disney's so great at expecting and understanding and exceeding our needs when we go there, because they're listening for the unasked question. And that's where I learned to find it myself. In entertainment on the street, not in animation. I was so fortunate to work with Disney for almost a decade, and I had many jobs, not just being the dresser for Snow White, although that was a pretty good one. I was able to move from this part of my career into working at the Disney Institute. I helped open that facility, which was modeled on the Chautauqua model in upstate New York of learning by those who do every day. And I was an instructor there when we opened that whole place. Then I was offered an opportunity to go work on Disney Cruise Line and to help build the second ship in the fleet, the Disney Wonder. And that was being built in Italy. So when they say, hey, would you like to go to Venice and build a cruise ship? Guess what you say? Yes. Yes, I would. I would be very happy to build your cruise ship in Venice. And I went. And again, neither of this is animation. These were not part of my plan. But on these jobs, I learned how to weld, I learned how to understand people, and I learned how to just follow the path. And I also figured out that I'm the one laying the path out for myself. I'm actually in control of this, and I wasn't making a left to animation anywhere along the way. This was too good. After about 10 years of drawing Mickey Mouse, it was time to try something new. And I left the Disney company to teach public school in Florida. And I was an art teacher for kindergarten through college. I loved it, but what I didn't expect was for the students to say, excuse me, how do you do this? Show me how to use this material step by step. Well, that's no fun. Maybe I could show you how to figure it out. Maybe I could put curbs on the road for you and help you figure it out yourself. In that role, as in these roles, I learned that students didn't always need a map. Sometimes they just needed a compass. And I tucked that one away. After teaching for another 8 years or so, I was given the chance to work at the Ringling Museum of Art in Sarasota, Florida, which was like coming home, as it was in the same neighborhood as my college, the Ringling School of Art and Design. That's the art museum there, but this facility is broader than just an art museum, and I sure hope you'll get to visit it one day, because it's stunning. There's the Museum of Art and the courtyard for that you see there. The Oslo Theater, which is an Italian theater that was brought over and rebuilt. It's a jewel box of a place. And then there's the Ca d'Azan, which was the summer home of John and Mabel Ringling. I learned in this place that the interdisciplinary nature of learning was way more fun than just sticking with one topic. Because if you love art, that's great, that's your entry point. But if you love architecture, or you maybe love theater or gardens, that's your entry point to the Ringling. And by giving you those options, we could broaden our scope and welcome more people to the museum. This is where I really got the bug for museums. I didn't know until this point that that was a thing I wanted to do. And by this time, animation was a distant memory. While at the Ringling, I was then given what I consider to be the most extraordinary opportunity of my life. And in this context, that's saying quite something. It was to go to Bentonville, Arkansas, where this was being built, Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. Only it wasn't there yet when I arrived. It was an active construction site about 8 years ago, almost to the day. It wasn't until I got here that I realized that all of these things were getting me ready to be at Crystal Bridges. Because here at Crystal Bridges, I'm still asked what time the 3 o'clock parade is. But it sounds a little different. Here's what it sounds like now. Excuse me, how much does that painting cost? They're not shopping. They're struggling. They're struggling to understand the value of something in front of them, and I get to help them understand it better. It was here I learned that you can truly have an interdisciplinary moment, because we are on 120 acres of native Ozark forest with trails cutting through the whole way. And in the natural state, Arkansas, that is most people's entry point to Crystal Bridges, not the widely popular American art field. Access matters. We also have not only the stunning building you see, which was designed by Moshe Safdie, but we have a Frank Lloyd Wright house on our property that was relocated from New Jersey to Arkansas to save it. We get to tell the story of American architecture in a beautiful way. These are access points that mean so much to our guests. Perhaps the most important thing I learned was that I still have students asking me how to do it step by step. Only, as I mentioned, it's my son now, Max, who wanted to know, how do I pick my major? And it wasn't until I realized that this was the answer that he started to feel more comfortable. I said to him, honey, when I was in college, crystal bridges didn't exist. They hadn't even started thinking about it. I couldn't have planned this if I tried. But I did take a step, and I picked a direction, and I continued to take a step, one after the next. And those steps took me to amazing places. But ultimately, they brought me here. Don't worry about what you actually do first. Just take a step. He then seemed to be able to choose a major. So I can thank Crystal Bridges not only for making my life better, but his too. Tonight, I really want you to take just one thing away with you. It doesn't matter where you've been or where you're going, whether you got to hang out with Peter Pan or not, you can indeed lay out your own path. And to do that, I just would say look back occasionally, because there are wonderful things to learn. Look left and right at the right now and what you're supposed to hold on to, but focus on looking forward. Your path has brought you here in this room this week with all these people. I'm sure you have made the most of that. If you can continue to move on forward fearlessly, I promise you, the wonderfulness that the world has in store for you, you cannot even dream about yet. It's worth the journey. I'll see you on the road.